guys, what's up? This is Courtney and this is Other Than Mother the vlog. I'm not going to spend a super long time doing like an intro. Number one, because I feel awkward, and number two, because I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't have a big plan for this. I have been sitting on this idea for months, and I kind of just decided that I need to get something out there and let it transform into whatever it's going to become. So, like I said, I'm not going to make a big explanation about my intentions because I don't know my intentions. So, pretty much the basic idea is that I wanted to have a place where moms can come, and there is a lot of honest information about motherhood. There's a lack of it. I know during the first few months, my son is 7 months old now, so the first few months were very lonely, and there was like a lot of like 3 a.m. Googling on why am I feeling this way, or is this normal, that kind of thing. And this is maybe not how the majority of people feel, but I do know that people feel this way because I have had people tell me that what I'm saying is different than what they've heard. And so maybe this is going to resonate with you. Maybe it won't, and if it doesn't, that's fine. Glad you're enjoying everything and everything's going well, but this is more for the people who are having a harder time transitioning into motherhood, and I just wanted to be honest about it because not a lot of people are. So this first video is going to be episode 1 of the Postpartum Diaries, and my idea for this is that it's going to be once a week, and I'm going to talk very honestly about some part of postpartum, and that I'm going to kind of like leave that up to people who are watching because I don't know what you want to see, and so let me know. But today I am just going to talk about a few things that happened within like the first month to 3 months. Some of these things are still happening now that people are not honest with me about, and I just kind of want to like put it out there, and if it sticks, I've helped somebody. If it helps at least one person, then I'm happy, because I was that one person who just needed someone to say something, and no one really did. So here I am posting a very mediocre, poorly shot video for you guys. So here we go. Postpartum, the 4th trimester. It sucks. Okay, people are like, oh, it's hard, but they're not. Listen, okay, let me just get started. So we are led to believe that because we have the ability to reproduce, we will get this, and it's going to come. And they don't say it's not. They don't say it's going to be easy, but they really don't touch on like a lot of very serious topics. And so I'm going to start with the first one that happens just moments after you become a mom and your child is born. I'm sorry, you become a mom. Everyone who has had a baby in any capacity is a mom. So I should not have said it that way, but the moment your child is born, you might already think you're failing, and let me tell you why. Mom propaganda leads us to believe that once our baby is born, we are going to have this immediate connection with it. We're going to see it, and we're going to think it's the most beautiful like creature. We're going to think it's the most beautiful person we've ever seen, and that we're going to love it right away. That was not the case with me, and I felt a little bit like weird about that. I've come to find out that this does happen to quite a few people, so if it's happening to you, let me be the person to tell you you are normal. Whether you think you know this human being that just came out of your body or not, you really don't. They are a stranger. People really don't like to say it that way because, I mean, they've been like in your body for 9 months or whatever, and you've, kept him or her or they alive. And that's just not that's not the way I see it. They're a stranger. You've never met this person before. You know nothing about them. My son, Charlie, I didn't really like connect with him right away. Oh, another thing, newborn babies they're not beautiful or cute. I'm gonna give it a 24-hour window from coming out of you to 24 hours later. They're not cute. I don't care. They all look the same, number one. Number two, they're not cute. Charlie had a cone head. He was very jaundiced, and he had bruises on his head, just the angle he came out. Even if that's not the case with your baby, they all look the same. Don't fight me on this. They're not cute. So if you don't think your baby's cute, you're an honest person. Don't feel like you think you're a bad mom already. You're just being honest. So you might not feel this immediate connection right away, number one, because they look like aliens, and number two, because they're strangers, and that's fine. Do not feel like you've already failed within moments of your child's birth because you don't feel like an immediate connection right away. Personally, in most parts of my life, I really have to like get to know somebody for like a long time. Like, I've had my same friend group since 3rd grade, and that is most likely because it takes me forever to warm up to people. Like, it just takes me time. Like, I really have to get to know you, and that is not any different with a baby. Like, he was totally different than what I thought he would be. I think that's the case with most people. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Newborn babies aren't cute, so don't feel bad for thinking yours is ugly, and you might not connect with them right away because they're a stranger. 2 very, very normal things. So going off of that, mom instincts there's truth in mom instincts. However, if you join any mom group, you will see moms who are seeking advice about their child, like whether that be like an injury, like, or a bug bite or illness. Like, what do you think this is? You know, my doctor thinks it's nothing, but or my doctor does think it's something, and they're wanting advice, and 90% of the comments are going to be like, trust your mom instincts, you know your baby better than anyone. And yes, you are spending the most time with the baby, so I will say that there is some instinct there, and then also you're the one who is with the child all the time. But just because you're a mom doesn't mean you're just going to have like all the answers all of a sudden. Like, for example, when my son got sick for the first time, he was 10 to 12 weeks old, I don't remember. I thought he was fine, and I took him to the doctor, and they said he was fine, and I was like, I thought he was fine. The doctor thought he was fine, and I was going to leave it at that. And as it turns out, I ended up taking him back to the doctor on the recommendation of a friend, not my idea, on the recommendation of a friend, and he had RSV, which could be like deadly. For babies, it's very dangerous. RSV is like, it's a respiratory illness. There's an airplane going by. I'm so professional. Let's wait. Okay, it's gone. And so, yeah, I mean, I was wrong. And I was wrong about something that could have potentially been deadly to my child. As you can imagine, when people are constantly telling you that you should instinctually know when something is wrong with your child, to not know when something is wrong with your child can be like very hurtful. Not hurtful, but it can be scary. Like, I'm supposed to know everything, but you're not, okay? You're just not. I mean, there's no way any of us could know everything and be able to see everything wrong with our baby if we've never had one before. Personally, I had never even held a baby until I had my own. I mean, I'd held kids, you know, but not babies. I didn't know anything about them. I had to ask the nurse to show me how to burp my baby. Like, instincts are, they're a thing, but don't rely heavily on them, and don't feel like you are not supposed to be a mom if you don't think they're super accurate. we can't know everything. So that's what Google's for, guys. Don't Google everything, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, we don't know everything, and don't feel bad if you don't know everything. So off of that is mom guilt, and there's a lot of guilt surrounding these things. You know, like, I didn't have an immediate connection. I didn't think my baby was cute. I didn't have instincts when he was sick to know that something was really wrong with him. So I felt guilty, and I would say that my mom guilt was not quite the same as other people's. So I did feel guilty about those. I did not sit on it or dwell on it very much. The biggest part of mom guilt I struggled with was not feeling mom guilt. So let me give an example. So a lot of moms feel guilty for doing things on their own, like going to the store by themselves or getting a sitter so that they can do something, letting someone let them sleep, whatever it is. They're like, oh, I feel guilty that I'm not parenting my child. I did not feel that way. When my mom comes into town, at the time, now it's different because it just is, but I was like, here's the baby, I'm gonna go take a nap, don't bother me, you know what I mean? Like, I did not feel bad about doing that. And the first time I went on a trip without him, not like a trip, but, you know, a couple days, one of my family members was like, how can you leave him for that long? Are you gonna be okay? I'm like, I'm gonna be fine. I'm going on vacation. I need this. But it made me kind of like second guess, like, why don't I feel bad about leaving him? I guess that it's a different way to feel mom guilt. I was feeling mom guilt because I wasn't having mom guilt. So if you are one of those people who are just like, please someone just come take this child away from me so I can go take a nap, that's fine. And you don't have to feel guilty about it. And I mean, people suck. Like, they're going to make you feel bad no matter what. I would say there are so many expectations on moms and women in general that are just very unrealistic. And if you feel guilty, you're probably doing it right. So I don't want to say any bad words, but you can fill in the blanks on what you want to say to that person. So this next thing I'm going to talk about, it's kind of a shifting gears here, but it was the thing I felt the most unprepared for out of everything in new motherhood, and it is sleep deprivation. I can't even put into words how bad this was for me. So I am not a sleeper. I've never been a sleeper. I don't take naps. I don't sleep, I don't require a lot of sleep at night. I remember in college, I tracked my sleep for a long time, several months. And my typical night sleep was 4 hours, 3 to 7 a.m. usually. Not my deep sleep, that was it, 4 hours a night, and I was fine. I worked, I went to school, I was fine. I occasionally took a nap, but I've never been a person that needs sleep. So I was like, I got this, I'm ready for motherhood. Even people told me that. No, I was not. So my situation was a little more complex than a lot of other people. Number one, I did not get a sleeping child. He woke up every 45 minutes for probably the first 2 months of his life. And not he woke up and went back to sleep. He woke up every 45 minutes. He was a purple crier, so he never stopped screaming. Never. I could make a whole video about purple crying, so look out for that. It's the worst. And then also, when I was 6 months pregnant, we moved 1,800 miles away from any family or friend we had, in opposite directions. So we're in the Midwest and our families are in California and Florida. They could not be further apart. We're very far from everyone. My mom and dad came for a week after Charlie's birth, and other than that, there's been occasional trips, but it's been basically just me. My husband travels like 2 weeks out of the month. The first time he did that, again, like after Charlie's birth, Charlie was, I want to say 12 weeks old, and it was like right at it was the worst he was sleeping. I had already had 3 months full of it, you know what I mean? Like I had 3 months, I was worn down for 3 months, and then my husband leaves for 2 weeks, and I didn't have any help. I know people are like, why didn't you get a sitter? It's not easy to just find a sitter, number one. Number two, I felt weird. I know that sounds stupid, but like, sometimes it's awkward to like bring someone you don't know into your house to watch your kids so you can take a nap. It just feels weird. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, why are you watching this video? But anyways, so my situation was very complex. Sleep deprivation was the worst part of the worst thing I've ever experienced. I mean, I can see why they use sleep deprivation as torture. I had several very scary situations in regards to sleep deprivation. The first one was on that trip when my husband left. I was exhausted. I was an emotional wreck, not because of any postpartum illness of any kind, but because I just had not slept. That Charlie was still in this room. We had the rocker over there, and then we had his bassinet right over there, and I was getting up like, you know, every hour pretty much, and even though like I said, I was used to sleeping 4 hours a night, I was only sleeping about 45 minutes to an hour at a time, so like I never really got into like deep sleep, and that's what gets you. Like, if he had just at least slept 4 hours a stretch, and I slept that whole 4 hours too, that would have been a different story. But when you're waking up and you're only getting like hour bursts at a time, it really, never again will I do this. So anyway, I was feeding him in the chair over there. I literally hallucinated. Like, I was awake, but I was like watching myself. Like, I was hallucinating that I put him in the bassinet, and then I went to stand up, and luckily I caught myself before anything happened. But I had him like on my lap, kind of like facing me like this. I stood up, and he was still on my lap. I literally had thought I put him down already, but I hadn't. Like, I had dreamt, whatever, lucid dream, I don't know what it was technically, but I literally thought I had already put him down, but I hadn't. And I went to get up to get in bed, and he was still on my leg. So that was very scary. Lost my marbles about that one for a long time. I still like think about that all the time. The second, this one's kind of funny, but this was during the day too. It wasn't even like it was like 3 a.m. like witching hour. I was in the living room. I had Charlie in one arm. I had a boppy nursing pillow in the other arm, and I meant to throw the boppy pillow on the couch as I was walking by, but I accidentally threw Charlie, and he was fine. Like, nobody called CPS on me. It was not a very, it was like from here to here. Like, it was, you know, a gentle little beep. He was fine. He didn't cry. He landed right on the couch. He was fine, but I was like, like, I panicked. I, like, you know, he was so small at the time. I picked him up. I was, like, looking all over him for him. He wasn't crying or anything. He was fine. That one's funny now. Could have been terrible had I, like, gone to toss him on, like, a hard chair. If I had gone to toss the pillow on, like, the table or something, and I accidentally tossed him on the table. So, like I said, it is, like, next level. I don't have any advice for you except for, like, really get help. I mean, towards the end, I really, like, was like, okay, like, this is not healthy. I'm losing my mind. And I was, like, ready to do whatever. I ended up getting a sleep training course, and we sleep trained. We didn't cry it out again. Don't think I'm a terrible person. But at about 2.5 months, we did a sleep training course, and that went well. Taking care of babies. If you want information about that, I'll link in the description. Is that what the YouTubers say? I'll put it down in the description. I don't have a coupon code or anything because I'm not cool. We've gone over this, but taking care of babies ended up saving my life, literally, and probably the lives of everyone else in this house. And then we did a more aggressive sleep training. Again, we did taking care of babies later on, and he is a champ now. So you can start those things at like the newborn age. So I highly recommend, if you know you're not going to have help and you know you're going to be uncomfortable asking for help, please sleep train. You're not a bad person. Back to the mom guilt. When he's crying and I know nothing's wrong with him in his crib, sorry, I'm not going to cry about it. I know, I'm terrible. But if you're one of those people, again, don't feel guilty. It's fine. You know, if you know your child is fed, changed, they just are not wanting to go to sleep, and you don't feel bad that they're crying, that's not my business, and that's not anybody else's business, so don't feel bad about it. And yeah, sleep deprivation, you're not ready. You're just not, unless you have a magic baby that sleeps. I know some people do, but they're few and far between, so don't plan on it. And that kind of goes into my last thing I'm going to talk about, which is PPD, PPA, PPR, and PPP. So everyone knows PPD and PPA. Postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. Super common. I don't really know anyone who hasn't had it in some like shape or form, but I didn't know. I'm into mental health. Like, I read up on mental health. I have had a long history with mental illness and advocating for mental illness and people in my family having mental illness. And these last two things, PPR and PPP, I did not know about until I was Googling things at, all hours of the night, like, what is wrong with me? So no one talks about these. So depression, anxiety, we know what those are. I'm not going to go into that because you get it. But even the people who are die-hard depression and anxiety advocates, on whether this be on Instagram or blogging or vlogging or whatever, no one talks about the rage and the psychosis. That's the R and the P. PPR and PPP. Postpartum rage, postpartum psychosis. Okay. I am pretty convinced that most of my PPR was a result of sleep deprivation. So when I don't get enough sleep, I'm angry. Similar to when I'm very hungry, I get hangry. But this anger that I was experiencing was crazy. I'm serious. Like, I have never felt so angry. And I went to a support group for moms. My hospital requires that new moms go to at least one, which is a great service. I didn't really go to very many because that's not really my thing, but I think it can be a really good resource for a lot of people. So look into if your hospital has that. Ours really pushed it, but they aren't always pushed. So do your research on that. But this one woman in that class was a wreck because she really was angry, and she felt like she had like a demon inside her. Like, she legitimately thought she was like an evil person because she was thinking about harming her baby. And this was happening in the middle of the night when her baby would not stop crying. I empathized with this woman because purple crying, again, I could talk for hours about purple crying. Anyway, she had a purple crier. Her baby was not sleeping. She wasn't sleeping, and she obviously wasn't getting the help that she needed, and I knew how she felt, and she was like legitimately like, I think I'm gonna hurt my baby. And she's like upset because she's like, I'm evil, or I should be arrested because I'm having these thoughts or whatever. That's not the case. So postpartum rage is super common, and like I said, it's really brought on by all these other things like hormones and whatever else. I mean, like, just like you get cranky like on your period or whatever, like, it's that times 10 billion trillion gazillion. It's super common. Like, I had no idea my body could be this angry. It's like a full like head to toe like anger. Another airplane. This one's not as loud, so I'll keep talking. But, and I need to wrap this up. We're taking up some time here. Totally normal. Rage happens, and this is something you can also talk to your doctor about. And the same with psychosis. Psychosis is like hallucinating, and not my sleep deprivation, dreaming, hallucinating, not that, like really hallucinating, like seeing things that aren't there, hearing voices, self-harm, like intrusive thoughts about hurting your baby even though you're not angry, like that kind of thing. Both happen all the time, and you are not possessed or evil. People will be like, yeah, you're gonna cry a lot, but no one's like, yeah, you're gonna want to kill your baby. Like, why? I don't know, because it happens all the time, and when it does, you don't know what to do about it. So, like, that's an issue, okay? If you're experiencing this, or if you're going to have a baby, have a plan for when you're, in those moments. Like, it's okay to put your baby in their crib and walk away. They tell you that at the hospital, but, like, put the baby in the crib. I would go outside and literally, like, lock the door. Like, I would, making a little adjustment here. Like, just do what you have to do to keep yourself and your baby safe. Talk to your doctor. If you're embarrassed to talk to your OB, I know a lot of people are like, it just feels weird because they've been with me, like, for this whole journey, and it was very joyous, and, like, maybe, like, I kind of feel awkward, like, going to my general physician for things like this, because it's like, I don't know, like, sometimes mental health is just tough, and it's embarrassing. So if you need to, like, go out of network, or, like, maybe you can't go out of network, but, like, to a different office or something, like, just change doctors for this one thing. Like, if you're embarrassed about your rage or depression or whatever, go to a different doctor in the same office, so at least you're kind of, like, you can, like, cut ties, you know what I mean? Like, you can separate that, and you can not feel, like, embarrassed when you're talking to your physician or your pediatrician or whatever. Just figure it out. Like, if you need to go somewhere else, and then once you're done with your treatment, you can never talk to that person again, and then you don't ever have to bump into them, like, when you need your annual exam or whatever. So, do what you gotta do. If you don't know what to do, I'm gonna put my Instagram, like, in the description, and you can reach out to me. I'm not a professional. Like, I am just a person with internet access and a lot of time on my hands, but I'm happy to help you find resources. I would love to, rather than you sit there and not know what the next step is and just feel so overwhelmed that you don't do anything. Okay, so that's my spiel on mental health, and I'm going to kind of wrap it up because I've been talking for 28 minutes, which is way too long. If you're still watching this, thanks. And so I'm going to conclude it here by saying I'm kind of going to go against everything I just said about mental health and, like, taking it seriously. But if you experience, aside from what I just said, the sleep deprivation, not connecting right away, not having mom instincts, or experiencing mom guilt in a way that you don't feel like other people understand, none of those things mean you're mentally ill, okay? Like, if you're just stressed, like, if you have had a day, like, I have days where this child does not stop crying, and they cry all day, and, everyone talks about having hard days as a mom. It's not like I didn't expect to have days like this, but here's where it differs a little. Mom propaganda, I love using that term because I feel like almost all of it is literally propaganda. I mean, maybe I'm jaded, and maybe I'm just so different that I don't realize that is the case for the majority of people. I don't believe that it's the case for the majority of people. I think there's a lot of sugarcoating and faking to make things seem cute. But if you've had a hard day, and then when you go to, like, rock them to sleep, and you put them down, and everyone's always like, even at, during the hard days, you'll be holding your baby, and you remember why everything's worth it, and you forget about all that stuff. If you're looking at your baby and you're like, just go to sleep, and no, this doesn't feel worth it in the moment, that does not mean you're mentally ill. It means you're a human being with working emotions, okay? This is hard. And yes, it is worth it, and there will be like little moments sprinkled in where you're like, yeah, this is worth it. And I'm not saying that, like, not everything negative about motherhood is a symptom of a mental illness. So if you're just like one of those people who's like, this kind of sucks, like, that's fine. Like, you're probably okay. Like, you like I said, you're human, you have working emotions, you've had a hard day. That doesn't mean you're mentally ill, and it also doesn't mean you're a bad mom. So that's my spiel on several different topics in postpartum, and I hope it was honest, and I hope it was relatable. But I'm not gonna keep this going too long. Like I said, I've already been talking way too long, but please leave me ideas on what you would like me to talk about. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I hope that you found some little nugget of truth in this very long-winded talk. And please tell me what you don't like or do like, and if you know someone who's getting ready to have a baby, and maybe you didn't relate to anything, send it to them. It's always good to have lots of experiences beforehand so that you're ready for whatever. And yeah, I think that's it. So I'm gonna go, and I'm going to have a wonderful day, and I'm going to appreciate every single moment of motherhood. So bye.